Nvidia has officially unveiled their new RTX 40 series graphics cards. There was a lot of interesting stuff they talked about, and when it came to pricing, things are good and bad? Well, let's talk about that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. The highly anticipated RTX 40 series have been announced and I wanted to give you guys my impression on the series, what I think about it, and if it's worth getting excited over. There was a lot of information they talked about as well as pertaining to things like ray tracing, DLSS, and some other cool tech, and I'll touch upon that later on in the video. But let's just get right into the meat and potatoes of the stream. So Nvidia has unveiled 3 new RTX 40 series graphics cards. The first card they announced was the RTX 4090. This GPU will offer 16,384 CUDA cores, clocks up to 2.5 GHz, has 24 GB of G6X memory, a TDP of 450 watts, and will be available for $1599 on October 12th. Now, surprisingly, compared to what the original 3090 launched for, this actually doesn't seem like that bad of a deal. I was honestly expecting the 4090 to be priced at $1999, considering how much faster they're claiming it is, because if you recall, the RTX 3090 launched in 2020 for $1499. And don't get me wrong, it was an inflated price to begin with, but the way the market is currently constructed, this is what we have to deal with now, so that's all I can really go based off of. But when it comes to performance, Nvidia is claiming that the 4090 is up to twice as fast as the 3090 Ti when it comes to plain old raw rasterization performance. Nvidia have also made improvements to their new 4th generation Tensor Core and 3rd generation RT Core, where depending on the application with ray tracing or DLSS, performance can be anywhere from 3 times or even 4 times faster. Now the benchmarks and charts they showed off in their live stream and videos, definitely disregard those and just wait for actual independent reviews. If you take a look at the settings, they did have ray tracing and DLSS on, so that's obviously skewing the results towards the new series. I'm going to be looking for benchmarks without that kind of tech enabled. The catch here is that Nvidia's new DLSS 3.0 basically has a new frame rate interpolator which will further help boost frame rates. It does seem like really cool tech, but this new tech isn't available on older gen graphics cards. DLSS 3.0 will not be coming to the RTX 30 series or the 20 series, and that to me is just sad. I mean, a lot of gamers weren't even able to buy a 3080 or 3060 Ti throughout this past generation until recently, and now they're gatekeeping new features to a more expensive series. Therefore, it's quite obvious they're using DLSS 3 as a means to entice gamers towards the 40 series. I mean, they showed off Cyberpunk completely maxed out using all the new ray tracing tech and said, hey, if you want to enjoy Cyberpunk as it was envisioned, then you need a new 40 series graphics card. And I can see a lot of people falling for this. Regardless, I still think it's really scummy for them to not support DLSS 3.0 on older 3rd gen GPUs, unless there's some real technical reason for them not being compatible. Let's not forget that AMD's upscaling tech, while not as good as Nvidia's, does actually work on Nvidia's GPUs. It works on older GPUs like 10 series or RX 400 series, and is open source. So to me, it seems like Nvidia just went 1 step forward and 2 step backwards with that one. Circling back to the RTX 4090 though, I think for those whales in the high-end segment that want the best of the best and are after a good upgrade, the 4090 is a pretty decent upgrade over the 3090 Ti. It's obviously not going to be twice as fast in rasterization as Nvidia is claiming, but I suspect it'll be more so around 70 to 80% faster, which would still be pretty good. Also, power consumption hasn't gone up as much as I thought it would. I mean, the 3090 Ti was already pushing 450 watts, but I'm sure once overclocked, the 4090 can reach like 600 watts. We'll see what happens. Maybe custom models from AIBs will be pushing that 600 watt limit. So that was the good, and now things start to get really ugly once they had announced the 4080 and 4080 12GB. Jokes aside, Nvidia is up to its no good anti-consumer tactics with this one, but I'll talk about that in just a second. So the RTX 4080 variant, which is the true RTX 4080, has 9,728 CUDA cores, clocks up to 2.5 GHz, has 16 GB of G6X memory, has a TDP of 320 watts, which is the same as the 3080, This card will be available at a whopping $11.99. They are claiming that this 4080 variant will have twice the performance of the 3080 Ti in raw rasterization, which would have been great if it was priced at $699 or $799, but at $11.99, this is just garbage pricing. This is a 72% increase of MSRP over the previous generation. I'm not really sure what justifies that. And keep in mind, these are just starting prices for Founders Edition cards. As you all know from what happened with EVGA, you can expect partner models to be considerably more expensive than that. I called it in my last video when I talked about this, that if Nvidia does release two variants, then we can expect a price increase for the true 3080 successor, but I wasn't expecting a 72% increase in pricing. That is insane. They never announced a release date for these GPUs, but many within the tech press are saying it'll be sometime in November. But it gets worse. The RTX 4070, 4080 12GB was the third card announced, and this GPU is just a straight up scam at this point. It's basically a rebranded RTX 4070, and everyone can see right through this. The fact that Nvidia had the audacity to call this a 4080 is downright disgusting. It's not even the same card, doesn't have the same amount of VRAM, and is a lot more cut down. This is a GPU that will have 7680 CUDA cores, a boost of 2.6 GHz, 12 GB of G6X memory, and a 285 watt TDP. They claim in terms of rasterization performance, you can expect this GPU to be roughly on par with the 3090 Ti. It's not even based on the same die as the 4080 16GB model, it's an AD104 GPU. Everything about this card screams RTX 4070. They were able to market this card at $899 with a straight face because it has the RTX 4080 branding, but like I said, most people will be able to see right through this, at least I hope. But this card is a straight up scam. Both of them are. The RTX 4080 16GB should have been $899 at most, and the RTX 4080 12GB should have been called the RTX 4070 and priced at $599 or $699 at most. These prices are obscene, and Nvidia will have a tough time selling them. Out of the three GPUs, the only GPU's pricing that makes sense is the 4090, which is really odd saying that because traditionally the Halo products have always had the most ridiculous pricing, but everyone would just shrug it off and say, well, those are for the hardcore fanboys or the super wealthy who don't really care too much about budgeting. So if you're after a card that makes more sense to buy, get an X80 or X70 class GPU. The mainstream should go after the X60 class cards. This time, it's the other way around. These GPUs make the 4090 more attractive. And who knows, perhaps this was Nvidia's plan all along, and it's why the 4090 is coming out first. The vast majority of PC gamers are now going to be looking at deals for RTX 30 series GPUs, and for those that want something new, they're all going to flock towards the 4090, upsell themselves because it's really the only card that makes sense in the lineup. If you're going to be spending that much money, $11.99, then at that point, most people in that segment are just going to be like, screw it, $15.99, it is what it is, I'm just going to go for the 4090. At least I'm going to be getting a product that's worth it or kind of just makes sense, if you get what I'm saying. Obviously, Nvidia didn't think miners were going to be buying these GPUs. Mining is dead, so you can't even use that as a reason anymore. As we had previously discussed, there's an oversupply of current-gen RTX 30 series graphics cards that partners and retailers are sitting on. Prices are only going to drop further, and many people looking at these cards will go, screw that, I'm going to try and find an RTX 3080 Ti for cheap, or try my luck with the used market. In one of my previous videos, I talked about that there's a flood of used GPUs that are going to be hitting store shelves, and if you go and watch that video, it really doesn't bode well for Nvidia's new generation GPUs. Also, I'm thinking about it now, and let's say the RTX 3090 Ti does drop to $900 or $1,000 in the next few weeks. Would you rather have that GPU with 24 gigabytes of VRAM or an RTX 4070, aka the 4080 12GB, for the same price? I think that was one of the main reasons why Nvidia isn't supporting DLSS 3.0 with older gen cards yet. They need to show off all these new features as a means to market these cards and give gamers a reason to purchase them. And if you don't care about all of that, then don't buy these new cards, ignore them and buy the previous generation. Nvidia is damn well aware of this fact. In fact, they fully showed a slide that says the new GeForce family, where at the top we have the new 40 series models, and at the bottom we can see the old 30 series. They are literally telling you that if you don't want the 40 series, that's no problem. We still have our RTX 30 series for you to purchase. Those are the cards for you, not these new ones. I've also just contradicted myself, or Nvidia has made me do this. In my previous video, I said releasing a 4070 with 3090 Ti like performance at $500, $600 will completely decimate their old lineup. So to avoid this situation, let's just rebrand the 4070 as 4080, jack up the price like crazy now, and now all of a sudden the RTX 3080 Ti for $800 or a 3090 Ti at $1,000 don't really look like terrible deals anymore. Before this announcement, everyone was saying, yeah, screw buying an RTX 3080 Ti or 3080 at these prices. I'm going to wait for the 40 series. And now just look at the comments. People are saying you're better off going with the 30 series card. Either Nvidia is out of touch or this was their master plan all along. I will give Nvidia their brownie points though. They somehow made the bad value RTX 30 series GPUs look like decent value now. Marketing geniuses. I'm now also kind of scared because what do you guys think will happen with the 4060 or 4060 Ti? It will probably offer 3080 like performance, maybe for $100 cheaper than what the 3080 went for, which is just a terrible improvement gen on gen. After seeing this, I'm not shocked by EVGA leaving. They probably saw these prices as well and said, yeah, we don't want part of this anymore. Either way, these next few months are going to be very interesting. We still have to wait for AMD and see what they're going to be doing with RDNA 3. Right now, I think AMD has a golden opportunity to win the market by a landslide, but whether or not they want to do that is a totally different story. On a side note, Portal RTX looks pretty damn good. Portal is one of my favorite games, and to be able to revisit it with ray tracing, I'm kind of hyped for that. And the good news is that it will be a free update for owners who already have Portal, so there's that. I was also really interested in the whole Omniverse software that they showed off. I think that is really cool software, the ability to take textures from old games, upscale them, make them look better, modern. I think if we can get a lot of people on board with this, it'll make revisiting some of our older titles that we love feel like a totally different adventure. And, right now when there's not really that many cool new games coming out, stuff like that I think is pretty important. So seeing things like that is really cool, and I'm glad Nvidia introduces stuff like this for the PC gaming community, but then at the same time, they go bonkers with their pricing, and it just makes me feel so conflicted. The other thing they introduced that they didn't really highlight, or I don't know, I tuned out of the stream later on, but they did include AV1 encoding for their new 40 series graphics cards. So, for content creators, that's actually going to be great. Anyways, that will do it for this one. I just wanted to give you guys my initial impressions for the series. I'll be doing some more analysis for these GPUs once information is out. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below as to what your thoughts are for the series. Are you excited? Are you going to be buying one of the new 40 series? Are you sticking to last gen? Or are you going to be waiting for RDNA 3? If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.